Ladies and gentlemen, I did a live podcast yesterday, and I didn't get to give you guys a watch market update. So I like to keep my promises, and what I say that I was going to give you one. So I came to give you one so you can see how watches are behaving out there at the moment. So before I forget, let's get into the watch market update. Unbelievable. Our first watch, ladies and gentlemen, is a Rolex. It's a stainless steel Sky Dweller. The Sky Dweller, 42 millimeter, unbelievable looking time machine with a white dial, unbelievable Jubilee bracelet. It's an unbelievable looking time machine. White dial. This watch has a retail price of $15,400. And the reference number of that watch is the 326934. That's right. It's an unbelievable Sky Dweller. But ladies and gentlemen, since the watch market is dead, I'm going to have to tell you, don't pay for that beautiful Rolex stainless steel Sky Dweller with a Jubilee bracelet, white dial. Don't pay more. I mean, you do whatever you want with your money. You do whatever you want, but don't pay more than $14,400 and dropping. All right, guys? I'm just letting you guys know what's going on. Another watch that I have here, ladies and gentlemen, is the Rolex Daytona. Rolex Daytona, rose gold with a chocolate dial. Fully rose gold. Unbelievable looking time machine. Unbelievable. This is not the Oyster Flex. This is the bracelet is rose gold, the casing is rose gold, and it has a chocolate dial. And the reference number of that watch is the 116505. That watch has a retail price of $41,600. And sometime in the Corona era, that watch is over $65,000. That's right. And ladies and gentlemen, you do whatever you want with your money. It's your money, and you do whatever you want with it. But ladies and gentlemen, la situación está jodida. Things are bad out there. And I'm going to tell you, don't pay for that Rolex Daytona rose gold with a chocolate dial, reference number 116505 with a 40 millimeter. Don't pay. I mean, you do whatever you want, but don't pay more. And we're talking about used slider condition material watches in this channel. Don't get that confused. But don't pay for that watch more than $40,000. And bang! Unbelievable. The watch market is dead. You do whatever you want. You spend it as you please. You spend your money the way you want to spend it. But the watch market is dead. You do whatever you want. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a beautiful watch. This watch that I'm going to talk to you about is another Rolex. It's a date. Unbelievable. 40 millimeter. Rose gold. Unbelievable looking time machine. It has an olive green dial. And this watch at one moment in that Corona era, I swear to God, this watch at one moment was over $95,000. Unbelievable, but true, ladies and gentlemen. And the retail price of this beautiful olive green dial, it's an unbelievable, is $46,300. $46,300. And there was a real big long line of lollipop suckers, window lickers, tomato cans, Palmolive dish lickers ready to give away their children's tuition money and pay $95,000 for that watch in the Corona era. Unbelievable, but true. And me, Kino's not here again. Kino's traveling with his fiance. He's doing his thing. So I got to do this on my own. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that beautiful Rolex date olive green dial, rose gold. Reference number of this watch, just in case you want to look it up. It's an unbelievable looking time machine. Unbelievable. Let's forget about the reference. You know what it is. It's an olive green dial. Don't pay more than $40,000. I know what I'm telling you. You do whatever you want, but don't pay more than $40,000. Ladies and gentlemen, there's another watch, another Rolex, which it was on fire at one moment, ladies and gentlemen. And you're not gonna believe this. This is the Rolex GMT white gold with a blue dial, with a blue and red ceramic bezel. Bezel, right? Bezel. Unbelievable. They call that the Pepsi. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. This watch is incredible because it is the same watch as the one that has the meteorite dial, but this just has a blue dial, which I like the blue dial, and I like the combination of the ceramic bezel with the red and blue. Has an oyster bracelet. Unbelievable. Unbelievable watch. Unbelievable. And ladies and gentlemen, this watch is incredible. It's incredible. And I'm gonna tell you, ladies and gentlemen, to make it simple for you guys, to make it simple. Don't pay for the white gold. I'm not even gonna give you a reference number. I'm not even gonna give you, I'm gonna give you the retail price. $46,300. $46,300. It's an embarrassment, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm gonna have to tell you the truth and nothing but the truth. We're talking about used slider condition material watches in this channel. Don't get that wrong. Don't get it wrong, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that watch. Are you ready for this, ladies and gentlemen? I don't think you guys are ready for this price. I don't think so. Don't pay for that beautiful Rolex white gold, blue dial, red and blue ceramic bezel. GMT, Pepsi. Don't pay more than $29,000 and watch market is dead. Watch market is dead. Stop giving away your children's tuition money. And you guys stop giving away your 401k because the watch market is dead. The watch market is dead in a backyard pool and floating face down like this. It's dead. Don't let them fool you no more. Remember this, ladies and gentlemen. You can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Don't ever forget that. I'm not going to tell you who said that, but if you want to find out who said that, you Google it because I'm not going to tell you. I do enough doing this. I do enough. A Rolex GMT white gold Pepsi. White gold for 29,000 smackers. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. Our next watch is another Rolex. Another Rolex. And I told all of you it wasn't going nowhere. It wasn't going nowhere. This is a beautiful Rolex. Stainless steel. Jubilee bracelet. Unbelievable time machine. 40 millimeter watch. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. This is an unbelievable watch. Reference number 126710 BLRO. The Pepsi, with the blue and red ceramic bezel and the black dial. And people were paying $25,000, $27,000, $30,000 for that watch. But again, it's a sucker's bet. The watch wasn't discontinued, and it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing and a good thing. The bad thing is they're going to keep on flim-flamming you with this watch because this is the poster child watch to get you hoodwinked, by these hucksters because they see you as a spoof ball. With all due respect, I'm saying that, with all due respect. And we're talking about a watch, which is a very, very beautiful watch. A collector's grade, a collector's dream, a collector's choice. Those fancy words they use on you people to entice you, to give you the subliminal message, MK Ultra, to get you dizzy, to get you flim-flam, to get you to give them away your children's tuition money. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, this watch, the retail price is $10,800. And you do yourself a favor, ladies and gentlemen. Don't pay for that used slider condition material watch. You do whatever you want. But you have another whole year for them to flim flam you with the story that they're gonna discontinue that watch, that it's gonna become a collector's choice, a collector's dream, a whole year, you have another whole year, but don't pay for that watch more than $17,400 and nothing. You do whatever you want, ladies and gentlemen. I'm only telling you the truth. I'm only telling you what they won't dare to tell you because I'm stupid like that. We're stupid like that in this channel. We tell you the truth. You know, we don't want you to keep on getting the logo. We don't want you to keep on getting the logo, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot continue getting the logo. Getting the logo is not a good thing. These people see you as crumb bums. You know that? You cannot continue being possum kickers. You cannot continue being cow tippers. And this is how they see you, ladies and gentlemen. But I don't see you that way. I see you people that you believe what these people keep on putting out there for you guys, and you believe it that the watch market is up and running. Watch market is dead. The watch market is dead. You do whatever you want, but the watch market is dead. Ladies and gentlemen, in the year 2004, 2005, I got this beautiful watch that it turned 50 years. It turned 50 years. And we're talking about another Rolex, stainless steel, Submariner. And this one, they didn't call it, they didn't call it Froggy Legs. They didn't call it Starbucks or whatever, This one, they call it the Kermit, Kermit the Frog. They call this the Kermit the Frog. And it turned 50 years, and it came with a green aluminum bezel, unbelievable. And people went crazy for that watch. I purchased mine and I bought it in Cancun. I bought it in Ultra Jewelers in Cancun. No, I'm lying to you. It wasn't Cancun. It was Cozumel. I bought it in Cozumel. And I paid for that watch at that time $4,400. And ladies and gentlemen, that watch went up and it went up in price. It's a beautiful looking time machine. Reference number is 16610LV. And today, before it got discontinued, it went all the way up in retail price to $6,400. I bought it for $4,400. It went up $2,000 more in the retail price. And that watch went to $15,000 in the Muppet Boiler Room secondary gray watch market. That's right, in the gray watch market. And I'm going to tell you today, we're talking about a used slider condition material watch. Beautiful looking time machine. Beautiful looking time machine. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you do whatever you want. But don't pay for that beautiful Rolex Submariner Kermit with the green aluminum bezel. Don't pay more than $11,000 and nothing. The collector's dream, the collector's choice. The sketch. They tell you that watches, when they get discontinued, that watch is a 50-year anniversary. Discontinue. And look where it's at. We're talking about a full set material watches. Stop believing the sketch of discontinued watches. It's all a sketch to get you taken. You don't have to go pay those people. They charge you how to become a watch dealer, and they give you come to here. You learn for free. I give it to you for free how to become a dealer. It's a sketch. That sketch that they tell you that this watch has potentially going to get discontinued, is going to go skyrocket. It's a sketch to get into your children's tuition money, ladies and gentlemen. But you do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. I'm just trying to tell you what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, our next watch is another Rolex. Rolex, the king. The Rolex, the king. Unbelievable, Rolex stainless steel Yachtmaster. The Yachtmaster. Reference number 16622. Unbelievable, with a platinum bezel, 40 millimeter oyster bracelet. Unbelievable, with that silver gray dial. It's an unbelievable looking time machine. Red hand. It's incredible. Ladies and gentlemen, this watch is unbelievable. Has a retail price of $11,650, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm gonna tell you, you do whatever you want, but don't pay. No matter they tell you this worth $9,000 out there in the internet and all those Muppet channels, I'm gonna tell you the real price in this channel. In this channel, I'm gonna tell you the real price. So you're thinking of buying a Yachtmaster 40 millimeter stainless steel with a platinum bezel, and a gray silver dial with a red hand. Don't pay for that watch. We're talking about used slider condition material watches in this channel, but full set. Don't pay more than $7,200 and double. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. You know that genie from 47th Street, from the Diamond District in New York. He has skin tight hair in the sides. He has a man bun, and he wears Van Cleef bracelets, clover flowers, and all that. You got to be careful because that gentleman, that Sinbad, that genie, he's part, of that little gang over there. I talked to you guys about the subway ghost jumper, train jumper, the ghost train jumper. They're part of that, they're in cahoots. They take over there links. They change dials, swap dials, and all that good stuff. We're going to tell you the truth in this channel. We're going to tell you the truth because we're stupid like that. And what do me and Sweet Kid Kino get in return? We get the short end of the stick. And we don't care. We don't care. We don't care. The day that we don't exist no more, you guys are on your own. So you can continue skip hopping around through life like a rabbit. Skip hopping around, lollipop sucker, because that's what you want. We're giving you the real story in this channel. Those people have been hoodwinking you and fleecing you for years until Sweet Kid Kino decided to do this channel, because he's the brains and I'm the voice. But the brains behind this channel is no other than Sweet Kid Kino to me, Joaquin to you. I'm just telling you, you know how it is. You know how it is. Ladies and gentlemen, these people in 47th Street are so good that these people will take off your socks off without taking off your shoes. That's how good they are. And if you don't understand what I say, you Google it. These people are so good, they'll take off your socks off without taking off your shoes. And then they'll put back a pair of socks with a hole in it so you will notice they took off your brand new socks. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know who told me that? Sweet Kid Kino. He's the brains behind this channel, ladies and gentlemen. You do whatever you want. Ladies and gentlemen, there's another watch that people were going nuts talking about to me, asking me the question about the Rolex stainless steel Oyster Perpetual Celebration. They made it in 41 millimeter, they made it in 36 millimeter, and they made it in 31 millimeter, And I told you guys that they were going to discontinue the watch, and they discontinued the watch. And I tell you, while they were, discontinuing that watch, don't pay more than $19,000. The watch got discontinued, and the watch just shot up, shot, poof. Like that guy that took the rocket that went all the way up there. I think his name is Musk. The Musk. That rocket, supersonic rocket. It went all the way up there. It shot up to $28,000, $27,000. And I saw somebody in the watch chats that put down, watch drop, dropped in price from $28,000. Somebody brought it down to $21,000. $21,000. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the 41 millimeter one. The 41. The reference number of that watch is unbelievable. It's the 124300. 124300. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have to tell you If you have that watch and you had the chance to get rid of it, you should have done it before. Now, not now when it's discontinued, because it's dropping now faster than Billy Boy's pants in an Arkansas farmhouse, ladies and gentlemen. La situación está jodida, papi. There's no money in the street. There's no money. The SBA loans are over. The PPP loans are over. The stimulus checks are over. Government grants are over. Unemployment checks are over. Protection, employment checks, they protect you, they give you checks. The government is over. It's all a lie, papi. No hay dinero por la calle. You need that money for milk and cookies for your children. I know what I'm telling you. And I'm going to tell you, don't pay for that celebration. The 41 millimeter. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. Don't pay more than $18,500 in it. Papi, be careful. Be careful. Be careful. I know what I'm telling you. This is the Great Reset. The Great Reset is in effect. If you don't know what the Great Reset is, I advise you to Google it. Because the Great Reset is here. A lot of things are going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of things. I'm also going to tell you, for the celebration, the 36 millimeter, the 36 millimeter, reference number 126000. Celebration of 36. My wife wanted that one. I gave my wife the one, the Tiffany 36, the blue one. I gave my wife that one, and she wanted the one with the red balloons and the yellow and green and all those colors, orange. I didn't do it, but I'm going to tell you, don't pay for the 36 millimeter, celebration. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want, but don't pay more. And you tell them who's giving you these prices. Don't be afraid. You tell them that it was sweet Kit Kino to me, Joaquin to you. He gave you those prices. I'm going to tell you now. Don't pay for that watch, that celebration, 36 millimeter. Don't pay more than $14,500, and it is seriously done. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want, Scooby-Doo. You do whatever you want. Our next watch is a beautiful Rolex. Have you noticed? It's all Rolex. Like this thing, this beautiful, Rolex. It's all Rolex today, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this is a Rolex stainless steel Explorer 42 millimeter. Unbelievable. White dial with an orange hand. Unbelievable. They call it the Polar White. Retail price of that watch is unbelievable. It's $8,350. This watch at one moment was, it was going up. It was going up to places. It was going up. It was moving up in the world, this Explorer. Unbelievable. Beautiful watch. Beautiful watch. Unbelievable. But ladies and gentlemen, this is an older reference, one of the new ones, when it first came out. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you do whatever you want with your money, but the watch market is dead. And we are here to protect you from you guys continue giving away your family's money, to these people. And I understand that you guys love to maintain these people's lifestyle. But if you want to maintain lifestyle, maintain the children from UNICEF, animal shelters, that kind of stuff. But don't give it away to these flim-flammers. You maintain their red gold fast car, their Louis Vuitton Nike sneakers, their ripped jeans, their Montclair sweaters, that? Supreme hoodies. You understand me? sushi dinners, you know, sushi dinners, $17,000 steak dinner with the guy with the white t-shirt and the sunglasses and the paddock in his hand, and he puts the big, bone in your mouth and he pulls it back out, and he does chop, 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 you like that? While your children are eating Wendy's and Burger King, and Kentucky Fried Chicken, it's no good. I'm not going to permit that from happening to you guys, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to permit that. I'm not going to permit it, ladies and gentlemen. Don't pay for that Explorer more than $7,400 in dropping, ladies and gentlemen. You do whatever you want. You do whatever you want. Ladies and gentlemen, I gotta tell you guys a story. I've been telling you that guy, the guy with the guitar. Well, that guy, they put a watch under his name. They call it the Rolex, yellow gold with a green dial, and they call it the John Mayer, Pero esto se jodió, brother. Esto se jodió, papi. Esto se jodió. Esto se jodió. Esto se jodió. Esto se jodió. The Rolex Daytona John Mayer with the green dial, it went all the way up to $185,000 in that Corona era. This watch has a retail price, unbelievable. It has a retail price, this Rolex Daytona, of $38,700. Unbelievable. But now Rolex released a new Daytona yellow gold with a green dial, but I think it's a much prettier green dial with gold gauges, with the gold gauges, seconds, hours, and minutes. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this new watch is going to just crush. Oh, no. The John Mayer is going to crush it. It's going to crush it, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to have to tell you the sad news. If you're still, walking around with your John Mayer, hoping to catch somebody that you can flip it for $150,000, it's never going to happen. $90,000, it's never going to happen. $70,000, it's never going to happen. And I'm going to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, don't pay for that Rolex Daytona John Mayer. Unbelievable. That reference number is unbelievable. What is that? What's the name of that number? 116508. 116508. Don't pay for that John Mayer. You do whatever you want. But don't pay more than $50,000. And I'm telling you, they gotta make room for the new John Mayer. It's nicer, it's fresher. Believe me, it's dropping. It's dropping quickly. That new John Mayer is gonna crush the old John Mayer. I'm telling you, you do whatever you want. Ladies and gentlemen, our next watch is another Rolex. It is the Rolex Air King. This one has crown guards. This is the new one, the new reference. Has crown guards. It's an unbelievable looking time machine. Reference number is the 126900. Has a 40 millimeter casing. It's an unbelievable time machine. And ladies and gentlemen, it has the word Rolex, in green, and it's unbelievable. I like this watch, to be honest, but I don't think that watch is ever going to be, a contender. I don't think it's going to be a contender. I think it's dropping faster than Bill Clinton's pants and an Arkansas farmhouse. I'm just letting you guys know. Retail price is $7,550. That's right. It's dropping. And I'm going to have to tell you the story, the real story, ladies and gentlemen. Don't pay for that beautiful Rolex stainless steel Air King, with the word Rolex. I think it even has a green hand. It's unbelievable, that watch. You do whatever you want. It's the new reference number. But don't pay for that watch. And I mean that. Don't pay for that watch more. And I mean this. Don't pay for that watch more than $6,899. Okay, guys, there it is. I gave you some prices of Rolex so you know what's going on, where they're heading to. The prices are dropping by the day, by the day. Nobody, ladies and gentlemen, and I mean nobody, is buying watches. Nobody is buying watches. All those platforms are just doing auctions amongst themselves, dealer to dealer. That's all they're doing. That's all they're doing. They're doing auctions because nobody is buying watches. Even if they try to artificially hype up prices, ya no quedan pendejos en la calle. You know what pendejo means? Do you know what pendejo means? If you don't know what pendejo is, you Google it because I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you. Well, there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you guys something too. Sweet Kid Kino bought me a camera, to put in the computer. I'm not too savvy with this thing. I'm not too good with it. I try to use it today. I'm not even getting used to it. I think I'm going to have to get some lessons how to use this camera. But you got to excuse. We're not very. We're not electrical, savvy, and audio and video and all that good stuff. So please excuse us. I'm sorry, right, guys? Um, I hope you enjoy this this watch market update. I promised you guys yesterday I was going to do it, and there it is. Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. I was too many hours today in the golf course. I was playing a little golf. I play a little golf every once in a while. Play a little golf. So I'm a little bit red because of that. The sun here in Miami is kind of strong. But anyway, guys, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like our video. Don't forget that. And we have a private watch group. It's under my name, Juan Felipe Nieves, and you can scroll down and you'll find their Opus and Time watches, and maybe Samantha and Kino, depends how they feel, they'll let you guys in. All right, guys? Again, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. All right, guys? And like we say every week, take care and brush your hair. Peace.